what was the biggest storyline in your opinion when you were watching Heat and Celtics?
Well, for me, obviously nobody can escape the maybe the greatest block we've ever seen in postseason history, which is that rivals LeBron's block of Iguodala. There's no question about that. That was a Game 7 of the NBA Finals, as opposed to Game 1 of an Eastern Conference Finals. But that block by Bam Adebayo was absolutely positively sensational. But I think the other thing to point out is that Jayson Tatum, who had about 30 and 14 for the night and was flat out balling, couldn't close. And what you're going to need more than anything is not just him, but you're going to need Kemba Walker to play better. With Jayson Tatum, you simply need him to finish. With Kemba Walker, we've made so much noise about the chemistry and how much more of a team they appear to be now that Kyrie is gone, but Kemba Walker is there. Here's the deal. We love Kemba. We know he's a star. He's a special player. He's got to play like it. He himself has admitted that. If Kemba Walker doesn't show up and play the kind of basketball he's capable of playing, the Miami Heat are going to win this series. Now, I've got them to win in 7 anyway, but we all know it could go either way. But the way Marcus Smart is playing, the way Jayson Tatum has played for the most part, Jaylen Brown and what he's capable of, Daniel Tyson, these boys, with Gordon Hayward coming back, the Boston Celtics can rival anybody if Kemba Walker brings his A game. But he's got to do it. Because if he doesn't do it, it's not going to work. Goran Dragic had 29 points last night. We've been talking about Jimmy Butler and his clutch play down the stretch. And we talk about the 18 that Adebayo dropped and the 22 that Jamie Crowder dropped and Bam Adebayo's block of Jayson Tatum's dunk. We talk about all of that. Goran Dragic had 29 points. Kemba Walker, you have to respond to that. You have to show up. And if he doesn't, Boston's going to lose this series.
Well, the story of the game is the block. I mean, they were trading shot for shot, blow for blow, two evenly matched teams. Neither one of them used to losing in this postseason, and the block was the difference, really. I mean, occasionally you can point to a play and say, that's the difference in the game, right? It reminded me almost in its way of the Patriots and the Eagles in the Super Bowl, when at a certain point you're like, these guys are scoring. A defensive play is going to win the game. Not that you knew it would be defense in this case, but that was the guy who stepped up and made a game-winning play is Bam. Tatum is, and the question always was going into this season, this bubble postseason, we thought it might be a funky season, postseason. You looked at the Heat, you looked at the Celtics, and I didn't pick either team, but I thought, yep, if someone said, could either one of those win the championship? Not just get there, win the whole thing. Yeah, it could happen. It's that kind of environment. It's that kind of atmosphere and that kind of evenly matched team and, circumstance. So this is not surprising that the Heat are playing the Celtics or that they're playing each other evenly. The question for me with the Celtics really was, can Jayson Tatum, who always looked to me like that's the future best offensive player on a championship team, he could be that one day. Are we watching that happening right now? Because that's what was so impressive about Bam's block, right? The dude it was on, a guy who went for 30 and 14 and 5, and who's been amazing. That's who he blocked to really win the game. So can Tatum be that guy? But here's the problem, having lost the first game to the Heat, and I picked the Celtics in this series. Gordon Hayward. I thought Hayward would be available to them to begin the series. He was not. Now they have to take a piece. It's not a small piece. And he makes them better if he's already, but you got to reintegrate that into a team where the minutes have been absorbed by other players who played well, like Marcus Smart, for example. You got to do all that and you're down a game to a Heat team that just played like that. It's tough for the Celtics. In a 7-game type series, the fact that they weren't able to start at full strength and they let one get away that they probably should have won, I think is bad news for Boston.
Well, listen, the bottom line is this. I think that when you've got guys like Brad Wanamaker coming off the bench and giving you 11 points, hitting 3 of his 5 shots, that's a plus. How many minutes did he play? He played 24 minutes, played 24 solid minutes. We got to give credit where credit is due, that everybody else around Kemba Walker is doing at least what they're supposed to do, if not more. I look at Marcus Smart. He's been the MVP of this team over the last several weeks, as far as I'm concerned. This dude is drilling J's, man. He hit 6 3-pointers last night. Now, this dude was known as a defender, just a workhorse and one of the blood and guts of the Boston Celtics, man, because he's a rough rider, and we know what an elite defender he is, got so much heart. But this brother is hitting J's. Long-range J's, pulling up, hitting threes, okay? We didn't anticipate that from him. So when you got that from him, and you still have Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum for the most part doing what they're supposed to do, and let alone you're Kemba Walker, you still can't get going. You got to accept responsibility, which he has, and you got to step it up and get it done. Outside of that, I got to confess, as great as that game was, I'm not really interested in talking about it. I'm that interested in getting back to the Clippers because I hope now that Max Kellerman has had some time to take a deep breath and reflect on the drivel that he spewed in the first segment of the show, that he would actually talk about basketball without bringing up an economist or giving 5 or 6 or 7 different truths or something like that. Because now that you had a time to take a deep breath, I want you to reflect again on Kawhi Leonard and the best in the world and the Los Angeles Clippers, who you picked to win it all. I want you to reflect on all of this stuff. On the next block, not this block, the next block, I want you to take commercial. I want you to take a deep breath. Woosah! That's what I want you to do, Max. Take a deep breath with me. Woosah! That's what I want you to do from the Bad Boys movie, Will Smith and my man Martin Lawrence. That's what I want you to do. Woosah, take a deep breath, reflect, and think about what the hell happened last night. And give America the appropriate apology that you owe them. And we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.